Recently, ISIS did a raid on some of our Green Berets in the country of Niger in Africa. And it turned out disastrously, unfortunately, for our guys. 4 US soldiers were killed. Donald Trump, in a press conference today, was asked about that. Let's show you his answer.
Why haven't we heard anything from you so far about the soldiers that were killed in Niger, and what do you have to say about that?
I've written them personal letters. They've been sent, or they're going out tonight, but they were written during the weekend. I will, at some point during the period of time, call the parents and the families, because I have done that traditionally.
I have written them or am about to write them. They might go out tonight. In other words, you didn't write them. They might go out tonight. Well, so did you write them or did you not write them? Because if you already wrote them, then why wouldn't they be definitely going out tonight or have gone out earlier? Now you might say, well, look, Cenk, it just happened. It didn't. It happened on October 7th. He's had plenty of time to write those letters or make those calls. He just didn't, because he's lazy and he doesn't care. By the way, if you're wondering what in the world actually happened there, because it's gotten such little press coverage, well, CNN did a good job of covering it here in this particular case, so give them credit for that. And they explain here, the CNN has talked to a half a dozen US officials who described details of the chaos and confusion, which led to the troops being left on the ground for nearly an hour before help could get to the remote area of southwestern Niger where they were operating. Wait, that sounds a lot like Benghazi, where there was confusion on the ground. It took too long to get there and 4 Americans died. Man, that is as close to a fact pattern on Benghazi as you could possibly imagine. Almost no word from the media, but again, credit to CNN there for doing that story and the question being asked today in the press conference. But very little coverage since October 7th. And Trump has said not one word about it, and apparently has not reached out to the families either. The Democrats, in their usual silence, haven't said a word. Now, if that had happened under Obama, there would have already been 12 investigations launched by the Republicans. So I just want to show you the soldiers we lost there. 4 US soldiers killed. By the way, 2 others wounded. It was a gigantic firefight, and we didn't get Sergeant LaDavid Johnson's body for another 48 hours afterwards, and no one can explain why it took so long. So that was a tragedy within a tragedy. So now, Trump is going to go on to explain, no, it's okay, others were worse than me. What does that have to do with anything? And of course, it's not true. Anyway, let's show you first.
Traditional way, if you look at President Obama and other presidents, most of them didn't make calls. A lot of them didn't make calls. I like to call when it's appropriate, when I think I'm able to do it. They have made the ultimate sacrifice. So generally, I would say that I like to call. I'm going to be calling them. I want a little time to pass. I'm going to be calling them. I have, as you know, since I've been president, I have.
Wait, have you, or are you going to be calling them? Because you just said like 7 times, I'm going to be calling them. And then you said, I have been calling them. And you said, I like to call them. But obviously, in this case, you haven't called them. So I don't know how much you like it. You like to let a little time pass. Why? I don't know what the reasoning behind that is. Oh, you know, your loved one died, but I don't want to call you after you find out. Maybe you say, hey, you know what? Maybe there's some logic in that. You wait a day or 2, let him grieve privately for a second. What's the logic of letting it wait a week and then longer than a week? What are you going to call him like 2.5 months later? Oh, by the way, remember how your son died? I just got around to calling you now. There's no logic in it. He's lazy. He didn't want to do it. And then he lies about how other presidents don't do it. Now, I have the facts for you on that in a second, but let's watch one last video here.
You said that President Obama never called the families of fallen soldiers. How can you make that claim?
I don't know if he did. No. I was told that he didn't often, and a lot of presidents don't. They write letters. I do. Excuse me, Peter. I do a combination of both. Sometimes it's a very difficult thing to do, but I do a combination of both. President Obama, I think, probably did sometimes, and maybe sometimes he didn't. I don't know. That's what I was told. All I can do is ask my generals. Other presidents did not call. They'd write letters, and some presidents didn't do anything. But I like the combination of, when I can, the combination of a call and also a letter.
When I can, I mean, normally I can't because I don't really care. But I'm going to smear other presidents and tell you that they didn't do it when I will later admit I have no idea. He just said, I don't know. Then why did you just say that Obama didn't do it and other presidents didn't do it when you have no idea? By the way, I was wrong. It was not October 7th. It happened on October 4th. Okay, so it's been 12 days now, almost 2 weeks. And he's like, I call him sometimes. I didn't call him in this case. I was just waiting for 12 days. Oh, you guys asked me about it. Okay, fine. I'll go write a letter or something. It's difficult. He says in the middle, he says, it's difficult. Oh, is this straining on you? I assure you it's a lot more difficult for the family members. So now let's give you the reality. First, defending George W. Bush here. Now, look, he started a disastrous war in Iraq, and I think that his actions were despicable, but he did reach out to a lot of people who were injured there and lost loved ones. So fair is fair. Toward the end of the Bush presidency, as Amanda Turkle explains, the Washington Times reported that Bush, quote, met privately with more than 500 families of troops killed in action and with more than 950 wounded veterans, often during private sessions. So he smeared President Bush there as well. Now on to Obama. This is an Obama spokesperson. President Trump's claim is wrong. President Obama engaged families of the fallen and wounded warriors throughout his presidency through calls, letters, visits to Section 60 at Arlington, visits to Walter Reed, visits to Dover, and regular meetings with Gold Star families at the White House and across the country. Now, of course, you might remember that Donald Trump famously attacked the Gold Star family because they were Muslim, and he went after the father of one of our fallen soldiers. He's a despicable guy, and you notice there that Obama visited Dover Air Force, where unfortunately the caskets arrive. At the time, Donald J. Trump lied about it as well. He said, quote, too busy playing golf, Barack Obama sends form letters with an electronic signature to the parents of fallen SEALs. So it's too much to go through all the different ways that that's a lie. We do know that in fact he did go to Dover, he did meet with the family members, but Donald Trump never verifies anything. So he tweeted about that back in the day. Now, the ambush happened on October 4th. That's when we lost the 4 soldiers. But as I told you, one of them wasn't recovered for 48 hours. So they actually landed back in America, their bodies did, on October 7th at Dover. So let's go to Amanda Turkle at HuffPost again to tell you what Trump was doing that day. Trump was actually playing golf on October 7th, the day one of the soldiers' bodies was returned to Dover Air Force Base after the Islamic State ambush in Niger. He accused Obama of playing golf, and it wasn't true. And on his watch, when one of our soldiers came home in a casket, Donald Trump was playing golf. He never talked about it. He never made any public appearances or acknowledgement of yet another botched mission on his watch. That was the deadliest one on his watch. And he obviously didn't write them letters or call them, and made excuses and blamed former presidents instead. Donald Trump in a nutshell for you. If you like this clip of the Young Turks, you know there's a whole live 2-hour show, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern every day, and you can download it or stream it and watch it without ads if you become a member. tytnetwork.com/join.